Hi, my name is Slade Meadows, and this is my data analysis of Gubagoo and Trello 360. And it is my capstone project for the Digital Communication Analytics Master's Program at UNT. So this is the presentation. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager at the car dealership Classic of Denton, which has Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Mazdas, as well as pre-owned. I've been working there for 2 years or so. My daily activities run from running social media, organizing the website, creating ads for having them approved by compliance, uh, just doing a bunch of digital marketing and kind of analytics and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot of tools and platforms and vendors come and go in the last 2 years that I've been working at Classic. We actually have people call and try to sell us on stuff quite a bit, and sometimes they just show up. But over the last 2 years, there's been two standouts for tools that have worked really well for a dealership, and they are Gubagoo and Trello 360. And Gubagoo we've been using for about a year and a half now, and Trello 360 we've only been using for 4 months. So Gubagoo is a chatbot, remote chat service that integrates with Facebook and our website. And so it's partly a social bot whose name's Scarlett. She answers any immediate kind of questions and responds to the customer as soon as they reach out. And then it integrates in with a remote like customer service office somewhere, and they continue the chat, try to get information to turn this customer into a lead and put them into our database. And so that's what Gubagoo is. And then Trello 360 is a text message service that automatically texts customers when they leave the dealership and asks them about their time at the dealership, about their experience. And if they reply back to the text message with a good experience, then it encourages them and sends them a link to leave a Google My Business review on Google. And if they have a negative comment, it forwards it to our customer relation manager who reaches out to them, but it doesn't encourage them to leave a review. And so this tool right here has really increased the amount of reviews we receive every month on average. And we'll look more into exactly how these two tools impact website traffic and reviews. So in the literature review area, there were mainly 3 areas of research. The first is chatbots and social bots. And I just kind of did some research on how people interact with social bots and chatbots, how they kind of feel about artificial intelligence in general, and some of the intricacies behind how they're designed and how people actually conversate with one another. And then the next topic was balancing technology and human interaction. There's a lot that goes into companies implementing new technology and new tools, and how their staff interacts with those tools and technologies, and how their customers interact with them. And sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's positive, but there's definitely a lot of history behind there that that we need to know going forward as we implement new technologies. And then there's the impact of customer reviews on customers, how they trust them, if they trust them more if they see them one place or another, or in negative reviews and positive reviews equal in weight, stuff like that. And I feel that most of that kind of applies in a general way to my data analysis of the two tools, because both of the tools are somewhat automated. They both rely on automation, and they both require the customer and the employee to work with them in order to be useful. If either one of them reject them, then they're not very useful to us. So the main questions I'll be asking is, how does Gubagoo impact website traffic? How does Trello 360 impact customer reviews in both frequency and sentiment? How does Trello 360 impact website traffic? And then how do the employees and the customers feel about interacting with these two tools? So I had 2 large primary data sets And the first was uh, website traffic from Google Analytics, specifically new users, or the amount of users in a given period, depending on which tool we were looking at. But that's my primary data set, is the Google Analytics. And then the next primary data set would be the Google My Business reviews. Um, for them, I didn't have an API or a web scraper or anything that I got to work, so I just copy and pasted everything meticulously into an Excel spreadsheet. And with the Excel spreadsheet, I'm able to use pivot tables and pivot charts, and that's a lot easier to analyze than eyeballing it like I did in the exploratory analysis. So, and then also I have supplemental anecdotal evidence from coworkers about how they feel about um, the tools, and how I feel about the tools after having worked with them for months and years. And so that's just there to kind of supplement the hard, cold data. So we'll start with the results. I first established a baseline of how COVID-19 affected website traffic in 2020, because it definitely affected website traffic and increased it by a lot. Um, so what I did is I created a baseline, and um, the average month saw a 62.87% increase in users for Mazda and a 25% increase for CDJR. And so with that baseline, we can compare the impact of the other tools on website traffic. So for any of those months in 2020, um, they will be it will be determined that they had a significant impact if they can go above that already average threshold that's been in place from COVID-19, because it is a variable that was not present at all last year and has been present pretty much throughout all of 2020 this year. So you can easily compare 2019 year over year to 2020 and calculate a pretty significant difference that can be attributed to COVID-19. So the first thing we look at is the impact of Goo on website traffic, and specifically Mazda website. And so we looked at 2-year-long periods. We started in May of 2019 using Goo. So I looked at a year after May 2019, so May 2019 to May 2020, and a year before May 2018 to May 2019, and compared what I saw, examined the Google Analytics data. And so Mazda saw an 86.94% increase in users during that time period, which exceeded the threshold set by COVID. So it was like 20% higher than the average COVID threshold, which means that there was likely a correlation between Goo and that increase in traffic. However, on the CDJR side, it was still over the threshold, but only by little. And if you look at the data down at the bottom of the audience overview, you can see that the spike over here in March and April, is actually really the only month that it saw an increase, which would definitely be due to COVID-19. And so I don't conclude that Goo increased website traffic with CDJR due to it only increasing during the COVID-19 months. So beginning with Trello 360 and Google My Business reviews, Trello 360 just knocked it out of the park with increasing our reviews. This graphic down here is just the overall, and as you can see, we went from an average reviews of like 10 or less per month to over 100 once we started using Trello 360. And as you can also see, the sentiment is near perfect. We got 4.9 ratings on there on almost everything. So it not only increased the sentiment overall from 4.3 to 4.8, but the Mazda review frequency increased by, you're reading that right, it's 1,032%, and CDGR is 1,092% per month on average. And so that's, I mean, it's only been 4 months. That's That's crazy to see those kind of results in that amount of time, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do this analysis, just to see those results on paper. And so next we looked at how those reviews, those increased reviews through Trello 360 may have increased website traffic. And so I examined the 4-month period of in 2019 and 2020. The 2020s are September, December, and the same for 2019. And I also saw an increase of 54.17%. That was lower than the average threshold. So there was nothing really significant there that couldn't have been attributed to COVID-19. So I don't conclude that it increased the website traffic. There's no way to say it didn't, but it doesn't look like there was much of a correlation there. And then next for the CDJR website, I believe that Trello 360 and the reviews that it caused actually did increase the CDJR traffic by a little bit. It's not any kind of crazy levels, but it was over the threshold, and it was pretty steady. So I think it may have made a difference there. So my interpretations about the data, I had some ideas about it. Is I believe that the impact of the reviews, the impact the reviews had on website traffic and sales and everything like that, I believe that that can be amplified through social media. This is because working with social media, any kind of post that has to do with the customers, especially pictures of customers that talks about them, they get a lot more likes, a lot more views, a lot more shares than regular posts. And so I believe that getting that out there and letting people see it on their social feed empowers the review and more. So instead of it just being a review sitting there for someone to go look at online, it's then being broadcast to them. And I think that, like I said, will increase the value of Trello 360 over time. I mean, it's already extremely valuable, but I think that it can be amplified even more. I have heard from salespeople that they have made actual sales because of a review someone posted. That someone saw that they were a great salesperson and kind and whatever, and they actually asked for them when they went to the dealership by name, even though they never met them. And so anecdotal evidence shows that social media would empower the reviews and amplify those. From our customer relations manager, she says that she believes Trello 360 reduces the frequency of negative reviews. We did see that it improved the sentiment rating from the data, but besides that, she claims that many of the customers, since they're reached out to so quickly, if they have an issue, that she's able to contact them and resolve it before they take to a public forum. So it actually prevents a lot of negative reviews that may have been posted otherwise. She's able to cool them down, and even if it's not settled, a lot of times she thinks that they just forget to go rehash it elsewhere after they've already hashed it out with her. So that's another positive of Trello 360. One of the negative aspects of Gubagoo that I've heard from the salespeople is that while I mentioned in my paper that it's a good thing that people think that Scarlett is a real person, a lot of the customers believe Scarlett's a real person. They believe that she's a woman that works at her dealership, and while that makes them trust her, it sometimes causes issues when the customers come in and then they ask about Scarlett, who they've been talking to, and then they realize that there's no Scarlett that works at our dealership. Sometimes the salespeople just lie and say there is, just so they don't have to deal with the awkwardness or possibly run the sale. So that can sometimes cause friction of that there is no Scarlett, and the customers fall for it. Another thing is that the chatbot / remote agents are really bad at answering any kind of question about a Mazda or a Chrysler, Dodge, whatever. Their job pretty much is just to get the customer's information as quickly as possible to get them to a salesperson who knows what they're talking about. They don't actually know anything about the vehicles. But a lot of times the customers don't want to give out their info immediately. They want to talk about the vehicle. They got questions. Um, and so a lot of impatient, we've lost a lot of impatient leads just due to the fact that the person they're talking to can't answer any questions about the vehicle, and the customer gets frustrated and leaves in the chat before we get any information. So I think it makes up for all the quick responses, and having someone to answer 24/7. I think makes up for that, but that is a negative factor of Goo. In conclusion, if I had to choose one of the tools, if we had to budget and cut down, I would choose to keep Trello 360 over Goo. I feel that it uses all of the uh, good aspects of automation, has all the pros of automation, and doesn't have all the cons and some of the baggage that comes with things like Goo with Scarlet, um, having to choose between quality responses or quick responses, things like that. I feel like the employees of the dealership are a lot more fond of Trello 360 and feel that it's working well than they are with Goo, which does matter. I mean, morale and everything like that matters, especially with the employees. So that's another positive in Trello 360's corner. In my opinion, the reviews are way more impactful than increased website traffic. Reviews are going to stay out there forever. And like I said, they can be amplified and used for social media. And Trello's only been running for 4 months, and Goo's been running for a year and a half. And so if you come back in a year, I don't think this would even be a question of which is better. But in my opinion, I think Trello 360 is better of the two tools. So I hope I've answered all your questions, and I hope you get a chance to read my paper. And yeah, it's been a great semester. Thank you.